What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the live stream. We just got some news coming through. Patrick, how you doing? It's just got interesting with Giannis and Grayson Allen out. Yes, that is going to obviously shake some stuff up here for the starting rotation for the Milwaukee Bucks. Going to be a lot different than what we typically see. And this is a very fast, up-paced game. So it definitely is going to open up some value for us that we'll talk about here as we're going along the slate. But overall, obviously, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton going to become much better plays. Pat Connaughton's going to become a much better play, and I'm guessing we might see a Dante DiVincenzo, Wesley Matthews slide in there, all of which are going to become much better plays, much more relevant on this slate tonight. So we'll talk about that as we're going along here, guys. Welcome in. Hopefully you had a good day. If you enjoyed this content, hit that like button, and we're going to do a game-by-game breakdown. Kicking things off here for the Sacramento-Milwaukee game. So we did get confirmation that Giannis is indeed out. Grayson Allen is indeed out. So we know that. No longer guessing on that. And it's the first game on the slate, obviously. So we got all that news. Going to be a bunch of usage and stuff opening up. Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton going to take on much bigger roles here. That's the first thing that I will say right off the bat. Drew Holiday at 7-7. I was a little bit skeptical on him this morning when Giannis was in. Now Giannis is obviously out. So with that being said, his minutes continue to climb from returning from that injury or the health and safety protocols. It's hard to keep track of which one's which at this point, but played 22 minutes last time, or the first time back, and then 27, so I'd expect him to be able to get up into the 30s, and he gets one of the best possible matchups you could ask for, taking on a Sacramento Kings squad that has been terrible all season defensively, so he is someone that I am certainly going to want to be getting exposure to, and the same can be said for a Chris Middleton and Bobby Portis. Those three guys really going to be standing out as phenomenal plays on this slate tonight. Kind of obvious, I would say. Probably going to be very highly owned, but as they should be. You take a guy like Giannis out of the equation here, the usage is going to skyrocket for these guys, and the price tags are not appropriate according to their new rules. So, going to absolutely love all of those guys. I think it kind of goes without saying, but gotta love him. Pat Connaughton at 3.8 now becomes a much better play for me on DraftKings. Really good three-point shooter. You take Grayson Allen out of the equation. Obviously, he's going to get even more usage and more shot volume, so also more minutes. So Pat Connaughton really standing out as a much better play for me as well on the Milwaukee side. And then as far as anyone else I'd be looking to, I mean, you could definitely be taking shots on George Hill, some other guys in this Milwaukee rotation. George Hill, Wesley Matthews, Jordan Nwora, I think at 4.7 becomes a really interesting play as well. Traditionally a very good fantasy point producer. Doesn't really produce the best when those other guys are on the court with him, but coming off the bench, he continuously seems to really produce at a high rate here. So I think Jordan Nwora becomes a much better play as well, with there being no Giannis, no Grayson Allen. Kind of priced more appropriately than I guess you could say some of those other guys, but he's still cheap. Running it back on the other side with Sacramento, since it's a fast up-paced game, obviously we're going to have a lot of interest in them as well. The only thing is Tyrese Halliburton is back. 2-game absence. He went through some conditioning, and now he's back, so that's obviously going to cut into the usage of some guys on this team, most notably a De'Aaron Fox. Tyrese Halliburton being back at 7.2, I do think is a great play. I don't think he's going to be limited at all. He typically plays, low to mid to upper 30s in minutes, typically upper 30s, so that's certainly interesting. With him being back, Buddy Hield's inflated price tag becomes a little bit difficult to be targeting. At the same time, I mean, we're dealing with a 230.5 over-under on a slate where if you look at the other two games, it's only a 208.5 over-under and a 220 over-under. So I do think it would be smart of you to be prioritizing this fast game in the beginning of the slate. Naturally, whoever's going to get the biggest allotment of minutes is going to make a lot of sense. So Fox, Halliburton, Barnes, Bagley, Holmes. Richaun Holmes is my lock of the night. Absolutely love him at this price tag. On both websites, he's seen his minutes continue to climb since returning, battling his way back from health and safety protocols. He was on there for an extended period of time. I think the longest out of anyone that I can think of. So he was really battling. Went through a lot of conditioning. They put him down in the G League, kind of working his way back. Now he's gone from 15 up to 28. I tend to think he gets back up into the 30s minutes in this one. And his price tag is very, very cheap across the industry. So Richaun Holmes going to be a fantastic play. He's my lock of the night. Love the play tonight. So make sure you be getting him in your lineups. So that is that first game. Really should become a priority for you. I mean, you could definitely be taking some flyers on other guys. Halliburton being back is going to make it a little bit difficult for a guy like a Terrence Davis to get those 37, 38 minutes that he was the last two games where he was putting up some big scores. I do still think he gets a decent allotment of minutes here, but, expect more so in like the upper 20s rather than upper 30s for Terrence Davis. So decent play for me, but just keep in mind with Tyrese Halliburton being back, it's kind of a big piece of news there. So Cleveland taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. As far as a total in this game comes in with a 208.5 over under 12-point spread in favor of the Cleveland Cavaliers. So expected to be a pretty easy win for the Cavaliers, as is the Phoenix Suns with 11.5 on the second game that we're going to talk about here following up. And for that reason, these games become a little bit difficult. We obviously know the main candidates for usage. On the Oklahoma City side, for me, it's going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It's Josh Giddey. They obviously have the most upside. If this game does indeed stay close, it's going to be because, most likely, these two guys are having big games. So, it makes a lot of sense to be getting exposure to these guys. If you are getting exposure to this other side of the game, which obviously I do think Darius Garland is the top pay-up option on the Cleveland side, dominates the usage, dominates the upside for sure. There's no more Ricky Rubio. All those guys that he's battling with for usage at the beginning of the season, no longer healthy, no longer on the team, no longer in the rotation as far as for now. So for that reason, Darius Garland really standing out as a very high upside guy. So at a 9K price tag, certainly making sense. As far as anyone else on this Cleveland squad, Lauri Markkanen at 5'5" stands out to me. A guy that's playing in the mid-30s minutes. He's only 5'5". He's a little bit versatile as far as his scoring. He can be very scoring reliant at times, so that's a little bit scary. But the fact of the matter remains is the price tag isn't quite up enough for the production that he can supply. So at 5'5", do think that he's grading out as a decent play for me. On the Oklahoma City side, the only other ones I'd be looking to on Cleveland would most likely be a Jared Allen at 7'6", and his counterpart there in Evan Mobley. But the problem is these guys are really negatively correlated. So 7'5" and 7'6", when one guy's grabbing a rebound, the other guy can't, sort of thing. So they are pretty negatively correlated. So I would recommend that you only play one per lineup if you're playing multiple lineups. If you're only playing one lineup based upon my projections, Jared Allen is my favorite of the two. But these guys are a little bit unpredictable, to be honest with you. It's kind of tough to tell. It's just kind of where the chips fall. You can kind of grade it out based upon matchup, and maybe if the other big plays more out in the arc a little bit more, you can go to, like, considering that the Thunder are going with an Aaron Wiggins, Lou Dort lineup, Evan Mobley might be a little bit more out on the arc compared to a Jared Allen. So Jared Allen might be racking up a few more rebounds than him on this slate tonight. For that reason, it does make sense to be getting some exposure to Jared Allen, maybe fading the other half. But once again, you never know with these two. It's just, I make a rule to not play them both in the same lineup. They're a little bit unpredictable. We have that with a few teams in the league now, like the Charlotte Hornets is a perfect example where they have such a rotation of all these guys that play minutes, and you don't really know who's going to get the most production, but you can be sprinkling them in because they're all good fantasy point producers. That's kind of how it is with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. So that would be my approach there. The only other people I'm looking to in this game would be Robinson Earl and Darius Bazley on the Oklahoma City side. They're both cheap, and then as well as an Aaron Wiggins. Continuing to get the start, continuing to play a big amount of minutes, so I think he's kind of an intriguing play. But that's pretty much it for me on this side. Nothing too crazy, and Aaron Wiggins is 3.7. I mean, he's the guy that you'd be looking to from the cheap end. Playing 31, 35, 27 minutes the last few times out. That 27-minute performance turned into a blowout, as do many of the Oklahoma City Thunder games because they're just not good. But yeah, if you want to go to Aaron Wiggins, certainly makes plenty of sense to me. If the game turns into a blowout, my favorite option would be Trey Mann. He's down to 3.2. He might be someone that people aren't really rostering that you can, and if this game turns into a blowout, he could have a big performance. Playing typically 15 minutes, if that bumps up to a 30 minutes or so. We've seen him have big games in the past. 23 minutes against Brooklyn, he put up 31.5 DraftKings points. Decent enough fantasy point producer that at a 3.2 price tag, if the game does turn into a blowout, and he gets those minutes, could go a long way for you in your tournament lineups. Indiana taking on Phoenix. So the big piece of news in this one, we have Caris LeVert, Malcolm Brogdon, both listed as questionable. We really need this news to be able to kind of elaborate on where we're going. And the thing that's unique about this slate, as it seems to be with all these 3-game slates as of late, this game's at 9. The first game kicks off at 7. Then you have 8, then 9. We won't know this news before lock, most likely. If we get lucky and they release the news before lock, fantastic. Honestly, as from a game theory aspect, I'd rather have the news just not come out because you can load up on these guys in this late game, and they might go a lot lower owned than they typically would if we had confirmation that they are indeed in. So that's kind of my approach here, taking some risks on a Malcolm Brogdon and a Caris LeVert could go a really long way for you. And if one or both of them are out, you can always, of course, just pivot to the other guys that are going to be coming into the starting lineup for them. Guys like Jeremy Lamb, Chris Duarte would become much better plays. Goga Patatsi's a phenomenal play regardless for me. He got ejected last game out after playing 31 minutes. He was having a really great game, 33 DraftKings points. This guy's a really good fantasy point producer, so I would gladly load up on him again. even if the game does turn into a blowout, he's a young kid. They're just going to give him run. Typically speaking, he doesn't really take a lot of minutes as is on his legs with Miles Turner and Domantas Sabonis in. So I don't think they're all too worried about, reserving him or trying to save anything. They're just going to run him out there for a bunch of minutes. And for that reason, it makes a lot of sense to be getting a lot of exposure to him in my tournament lineups. And I think that loading up on some Goga, some LeVert, and some Malcolm Brogdon, if they're in, would be great. And like I said, if you don't get these guys ruled in, you can just pivot to the other Indiana guys that are going to be taking on the large roles that are in the starting lineups. So my approach from a Game 3 aspect would be to be playing a Karis LeVert and a Malcolm Brogdon. I think they just kind of got that last day off. That was on the 19th. They've had 2 days since then to kind of go through conditioning, recovery, rest, whatever they needed to get prepared for this one. So I'm guessing they're both going to be in. Malcolm Brogdon dealing with that Achilles injury. If I had to pick one of them that would be out, it would be him. He's been dealing with that for quite some time now. But anyways, my approach, I think they're going to be in. I'm just playing it that way, and that's what I would suggest you guys do. And then, like I said, worst case, if they get ruled out, you just pivot to their teammates that are going to have much larger roles. You'll probably be leaving a lot of salary on the table in that case, but it is what it is. You just have to pivot off them. Running it back on the other side, it's Devin Booker, it's Chris Paul. It's really that simple. These guys dominate all the usage on their team. It really runs through them, especially with there being no DeAndre Ayton. And as far as anyone else, you can definitely go to Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder. Those two guys are playing the most minutes in the rotation now. 37 minutes last time out for Mikal Bridges. As far as Jay Crowder is concerned, last time out, he went up there and played 33 minutes. So, those guys would be the ones that I'm looking to load up on the Phoenix side. And JaVale McGee is a valid tournament play. They just continuously, they're not running him out there for a lot of minutes. I still grade that as a pretty decent value for me over here on my sheet. Not quite as good as those guys we just talked about, like a Mikal Bridges. But JaVale McGee at 4.4 puts up 1.34 DK points per minute. If he can somehow get some extended run, I mean, you gotta take advantage here, because everyone, typically when this happens and a guy opens up value, everyone gets mad when he doesn't produce, and then his ownership goes way under owned on a slate like this. And this is only a 3-gamer, so if you can take advantage of that, get a JaVale McGee low owned, and he goes out there and actually does what he's capable of, puts up 35, 40 DraftKings points, could really go a long way for you in your tournament lineup. So that would be my approach on this slate tonight. That's my overall thought as far as the 3-game on DraftKings. Looking over here to FanDuel, we'll talk about that as well, guys. Before we do, quick reminder that the sponsor of the program is SuperDraft Pro. If you guys have not checked out SuperDraft Pro, I would highly recommend that you do. I'm going to put my link right now in the chat. SuperDraft Pro really, opening up a different type of offer for DFS players. They are getting into all sorts of new era things now with Caesars Entertainment, made the partnership. They're getting into some crypto, NFT space I know they're getting excited about as well. So it's kind of a unique thing, but for the time being with the SuperDraft Pro format, if you sign up using my link, you'll get access to these exclusive free contests. You can sign up today using the link, and you'll get access to all of this. You can get the free and fun package, the basic package, the premium, the elite. If you're a really good DFS player, I would highly recommend that you get the elite package. If you kind of have been winning and you have a winning track record for quite some time, I think you're really going to get your return of investment on that really, really quick. With the elite pass, you get all these free contests. So you can see with the elite, you get the elite, the basic, and the premium content, or the premium contest, and you get all sorts of cool stuff. For the contest tomorrow on Sunday, they're giving away the Pro Bowl ticket for the elite contest. The other two, you have $100, $100, and $250 in prizes today. They already gave away 3 different contests for the NFL, so I'm already locked into that. I got my lineup in there. And you'll get these contests every single day if you do become a SuperDraft Pro member. The only way you can do it is being referred by a coach. When you do get referred, you can actually become a coach yourself if you'd like. So if you select one of these packages and you go to the next screen, you'll see you were referred by me. Here on the screen, you can pick whether you want to be a player or a coach. The player, you get access to all of those exclusive contests. If you want to become a coach, you can get your own referral link, similar to what I do on my channel, similar to what I'm sure you see a lot of YouTubers do on their channels to make money and make a living. You can get a referral link, refer people there yourself, and you can make commissions, start your own home-based business. So SuperDraft Pro, really, really excited to be partnering with these guys, and I think it's a really cool opportunity for lots of people. So check it out. Use that link in the chat. Use the link down below in the description. Sign up today, and join my team, man. I'm looking forward to it. So I'm looking forward to continuing to grow with them. Probably will be implementing some more SuperDraft stuff in my content, but if you sign up through my link that I just put in the chat, you get access to these exclusive free contests. And like I said, you can win your money back pretty quickly if you're an elite player and you get that $100 package with the amount of free contests you get. You're gonna win over $100. If you don't really consider yourself to be a pro or you're kind of new to DFS, you could always try the free and fun, of course. But I would try to go with the basic or the premium in that case, because you still get, obviously the more expensive the more you get, but it's well worth the investment. I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's pretty easy to make the money back for the subscription, and like I said, you get all these cool things. So coming up tomorrow, they're giving away those tickets for the Pro Bowl game. If you sign up for that elite package and you hop in this contest with me, the free entry, you can win tickets to the Pro Bowl in Las Vegas on February 6th. You get a 2-night stay in a suite in Las Vegas on the Las Vegas Strip. The only thing that's not included is travel, but I mean, they're giving out stuff like this all the time. Now that they partnered with Caesars Entertainment, they're giving out trips to Vegas. They're giving out golf trips, all this fun stuff. When you sign up and you get one of those packages, you can get the sports book as well. You can win like a golf trip for 2, 3-night stay at hotels, all this fun stuff. So this is a consistent thing over here on SuperDraft Pro. If you haven't checked them out, check them out using that link. I'm excited to be playing this, trying to win some tickets to the Pro Bowl. You can hop in here and win some tickets to the Pro Bowl too if you become an Elite Pass member. Check them out, guys. And if you're enjoying the stream, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. Do greatly appreciate it. And we're going to talk about some FanDuel. We kind of already went over this slate for the most part, but we'll just talk about it. There's always some pricing discrepancies involved on both the websites, so I just want to make sure we're pointing those out. But we kind of have an idea of where we're going. I mean, the Milwaukee guys are just phenomenal plays. We're waiting on the Indiana news. We really need that. But Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, Bobby Portis, all three of them going to be big priorities for me. Taking on a Sacramento squad that really struggles defensively. It's the fastest paced game on the slate by far. There's no Giannis. There's no Grayson Allen. These guys are going to have a huge amount of usage, especially Bobby Portis at only 6'3". I mean, that's just way too cheap over here on a site like FanDuel. So I'd suggest that you load up on those Bucks guys for sure tonight. At the center position, I do think that it makes a lot of sense to be going with either a Bobby Portis or a Goga Patazzi that I talked about, or a Rashawn Holmes, or a Marvin Bagley. Target the injury teams or target the fast-paced game. So Goga, there's no Miles Turner, there's no Domantas Sabonis. The injuries, you can target him. As far as Bobby Portis, there's no Giannis Antetokounmpo, there's no Grayson Allen. Definitely want to be targeting him. Rashawn Holmes price tag, he is my lock of the night. He's more of a price tag play. It just has not come up enough since he returned. We saw his minutes go up from 14 to 27 last time out. I'd expect they go up even more. Hasn't played since the 19th, so he's had 2 more days to get some conditioning in, some practice in. He should be at a full amount of run here very soon, so I love Rashawn Holmes on both websites here. You can go to a JaVale McGee. I do think, like I said, I think JaVale McGee will be one of the top tournament plays on the slate. I think a lot of people are sick of being burnt by him after him putting up very mediocre performances the last 2 times out. But, I mean, we've seen him put up, in 15 minutes, 29 FanDuel points. This is the type of stuff that this guy's capable of with the permanent production that he puts up. So I would not let you I would not allow that to discourage you away from playing him, especially if everyone else is going to hop off, jump ship. If he goes out there and puts up 40 FanDuel points, 40 DraftKings points, and everyone else doesn't play him, and you get him at like 1%, and he's one of the best values on the slate, you're probably going to be at the top of the leaderboard. So I certainly think JaVale McGee is a big tournament play. If you're playing guys in the Oklahoma City-Cleveland game, you think the game's going to stay close, I would suggest loading up on some Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, some Josh Giddey, some Lou Dort, and then running it back with a Darius Garland for the most part in that game. Those are the 3 guys that I'm really going to be prioritizing from an upside aspect on both sides. That would be my approach there. Brizzy says, Kevin Love or Markkanen tonight? I like Markkanen the best there. Markkanen's been playing a lot of minutes. Grades out is a pretty great value for me over here. I think you're playing on DraftKings. If you could clarify that, that would be great. But on DraftKings, he's 5'5", projected to play. I've got him projected in the upper 20s. He's even been playing more than that, though. I just haven't projected a little bit on the conservative side so that I'm not getting too much exposure. But he's been playing 33, 30, 32 minutes. I've got him projected for 27, and he still grades out as a phenomenal value. So Lauri Markkanen would be my answer there. Based on a minutes upside, Kevin Love does grade out as a pretty great play as well, though. Right now, I have Kevin Love grading out as the better play in my projections, but I think that's just with the what am I trying to say here? The light minutes on Lauri Markkanen. Kevin Love's a really good fantasy point per minute producer, but the minutes upside just isn't there. So for that reason, I'll lean going Markkanen. Kevin Love does grade out as a better projection for me in my model, but that's a projection at his upside, and the minutes are somewhat capped there. So, I mean, for me, it's going to be Markkanen. I need those minutes. But yeah, that's the overall breakdown of the slate. I mean, it's kind of the same on both websites, to be honest with you. There's always going to be a little bit of pricing discrepancy, but it's kind of obvious as to where we're going. We really want to load up on those Milwaukee guys, and I would highly suggest that you leave yourself some flexibility for that Indiana news. If you want to just go ahead and put Malcolm Brogdon and Karis LeVert in your lineups, and if they play, I think they're great plays. If they don't, you can just pivot off them to their teammates that are going to be filling in those big roles. I do think that's a viable strategy on the slate. It's really tough when you're playing a slate where the games are, 3 hours apart or whatever, 2 hours apart, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 p.m. We're not going to have that news most likely before lock. So if you can lock these guys in, Malcolm Brogdon, Karis LeVert, and get them really low owned when they're going to have a ton of upside with there being no Miles Turner and no Domantas Sabonis, I do think that's a fantastic approach to be doing on this slate tonight. So that's going to be kind of my approach, trying to capitalize on those low owned guys in the late game if they are in. And if they're not, I don't think it's going to kill you too much because you still have that late swap flexibility. And even though their teammates are cheaper, their teammates would be stepping into roles where they would typically be priced up the same price tag as a Brogdon, as a Karis LeVert, if we knew indeed that those guys were out. So, I can just pivot down to a Torrey Craig, a Lance Stevenson, a Jeremy Lamb. That's where you'd be looking to in this one. My favorite option of those guys would be definitely Jeremy Lamb at only 3.3 if those guys are indeed ruled out. We've continued to see him increase his minutes, a really good fantasy point producer. So I think Jeremy Lamb could be a great guy to be going to for some value. If those guys are indeed out, could be a little bit of a risky play if they get ruled in, obviously. But for your tournament, certainly would not mind it. Brizzy says, how many bucks would you play if you playing one lineup? I mean, it depends upon what website you're on, but I think getting at least $3 in your lineup is smart. Honestly, that'd be my approach. And it can be Middleton, Drew Holiday, Bobby Portis. You can go down to the cheaper guys and a Jordan Nwora off the bench. You can go to a Pat Connaughton now, who gets a bigger bump up, a Dante DiVincenzo, a George Hill. So depending upon your pay-up options and your roster construction, I think you should be getting at least $3 in your lineup, most likely here. And I would have no issues with you going up to like $5, honestly. They're cheap enough to where you could go all the pay-up options and then go down to like a Pat Connaughton and a George Hill or a Pat Connaughton. And with Grayson Allen being out, it just makes it that much easier. You can go Dante DiVincenzo and Pat Connaughton if you want. I mean, it makes perfect sense. It's the fastest paced game on the slate. These guys are really good shooters as well on a site like DraftKings where you get the bonuses for the 3-point shooting. But then even if you go over here to FanDuel, Dante DiVincenzo, he's only 3.8. So, that's a really cheap price tag for a guy that's now in a big role. You look at Pat Connaughton, he's only 4K. So, you could be getting definitely 4 in your lineup over there on FanDuel. You can only get a maximum of 4, but I'd have no issues with you getting $4 in your lineup whatsoever. Just a lot of minutes, a lot of usage opening up, and the fact of the matter is it's the fastest paced game on the slate as well. 230.5 over under. It really stands out, so certainly would encourage you to do that. Get lots of exposure there. And I also would certainly encourage you to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. And check out my premium packages over here on Patreon, guys. If you haven't become a KJK DFS premium content member, if you didn't know that I offer it, I think that you would know that I have core plays, tools, premium content based upon my overlay, but I guess people sometimes don't read that at the top or on my videos, and I get questions on whether I have premium content, so I do. Check it out over here, patreon.com/KJK_DFS. You can get access to the premium NBA package for $19.99 a month. Much cheaper than the industry, guys. I didn't even realize these other websites, how much they're charging per month now. They're all skyrocketing up to like $50 a month for premium content. This is a very, very reasonable price tag for projections, core plays, all this stuff that these other websites are offering you. And you get it at a much cheaper price tag than $50 a month. So I would highly encourage you to check that out if you're playing NBA DFS every night, getting very serious about it. Click on that link in the chat. Click on that link down below in the description. Hop in. You get access to the Discord package, which you can hop in the Discord package for only $1 the entire month of January. Giving back to you guys. I put it only down to $1 for the entire month. Access to me asking me questions up to lock, before lock, after lock, all that fun stuff. Typically a $10 value. You can get that for only $1 throughout the entire month of January if you are interested. All right. So we kind of blew through it. It's only a 3-gamer. I wasn't really sure how long this stream was going to last. I'll gladly stay on and chat it up with you guys. If you have any questions, I can certainly answer them. I think it's become pretty obvious with there being no Grayson Allen and no Giannis that we're going to want to be loading up on some Milwaukee guys. Fastest paced game on the slate. You get a Milwaukee Bucks rotation that's going to be somewhat shortened now with guys getting bumps up in minutes and usage. DiVincenzo, Portis, Connaughton, Chris Middleton become really great plays. Drew Holiday becomes a really great play. So makes a lot of sense to be loading up on these guys. Projected lineup of Matthews, Middleton, Connaughton. DiVincenzo becomes a 6-man off the bench, so he's going to have all that usage. Really going to like all those guys. Really going to like blending and mixing and matching. And the best part about it, too, is it went from like an 11.5-point spread or whatever it was, a 10-point spread this morning. Now it's down to a 6.5-point spread, so the game's actually expected to stay close. You look at the other 2 games on the slate, the 12-point spread and an 11.5-point spread. Maybe you can target some bench guys on those other teams, some cheapies, pay up for all the pay-up options in this fast-paced game, and be well on your way to the top of the leaderboards. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me. If you think these games are going to turn into blowouts and these guys aren't going to get their full allotment of minutes, maybe not paying up for a Darius Garland or a Shai Gilgeous and playing the cheaper guys and then just loading up on the more expensive guys in this fast-paced game, like a Chris Middleton, De'Aaron Fox, Drew Holiday, Halliburton, Buddy Hield, all those guys, Harrison Barnes, they're all going to get lots of minutes in a great fantasy point environment. So if you want to do that, I think that would be a viable approach to tonight's slate. And make sure you're getting Rashawn Holmes in your lineup. He's my lock of the night. If I were to make my video again from this morning with there being no Giannis, if I'm being honest, I mean, Bobby Portis obviously just jumps to the top of the page. His price tag's really cheap. There's no Giannis. His rebounding upside, his scoring upside is going to be way up. So I like Bobby Portis a ton now. I like Chris Middleton a ton. I like Drew Holiday a ton. So loading up on those Bucks guys really makes a lot of sense. Would highly encourage you to do so. And I think that's going to be the way to scoring some high totals on this slate tonight. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much an overall breakdown. If you have any questions in the chat, please do ask. I'll gladly answer them. If you want to check out my premium content, I'll be hopping over there to update my projections, my core plays, answering any questions in the Discord chat right after this stream. If you want to come be a part of that, would love to have you. And if you haven't hopped into the Super Draft format, sponsor the program, check it out, guys. Like I said, if you become an Elite Pass member before tomorrow, you can hop into this contest. They're giving away Pro Bowl tickets. So I'm going to be trying to win those Pro Bowl tickets and a 2-night stay in a suite in the Las Vegas Strip. So if you haven't signed up for that Elite Pass, would highly encourage you to do so. Check out Super Draft. Really excited to be partnering with these guys, and you can only get access to this Super Draft Pro by being referred. So check out my link down below in the description. I'll put that in the chat for you guys right now as well. Super Draft, sign up, get your subscription today, and hop in this Elite contest with me tomorrow for these Pro Bowl tickets. One of us is going to get a 2-night stay in a suite in Las Vegas, get to go to the Pro Bowl. Obviously, would be a fun time. So check it out. And if you have any questions, ask away. I'll gladly answer. If not, and you enjoyed the stream, hit that like button before you head out. We can end this thing if everyone's feeling pretty confident about the 3-game slate. But if you're not feeling too confident and you need some questions answered, I will gladly answer them for you. If you have questions about Super Draft as well, you can ask them in the chat. But really cool thing they have going on here with the player-coach format. You can become a player, you can become a coach. You can start your own home-based business by getting one of these packages, becoming a coach. When you do, you get your own referral link. So after you go through mine, you sign in, you'll get your own portal, and you'll get your own link. After you just fill in some simple information, guys. And if you have a business, if you have like an LLC or something that you already own, you can attach your LLC to this, run it all through your business, and account your profit towards your business, which I would highly recommend that you do if you do have an LLC rather than running it through your own personal name. So it's a unique business opportunity. Really excited to be partnering with those guys, and I would encourage you to go ahead and check them out. And when you go to the homepage, you will see the introduction video that you can check out as well. Kind of tell you what Super Draft's all about. All you got to do is hit that access free contest, and you'll be able to get the package that I have. Like I said, with the Elite package I have, all of the contests, you can get the basic, premium, or elite for each tier that you get above. If you get the premium, you're going to get access to the basic contest as well. If you get the elite, you get access to the elite, the premium, and the basic. So check it out. Looks like we don't really have any more questions, so if that's the case, I might end the stream here. I want to make sure that I am giving a few more minutes for those that maybe just joined in and maybe have some questions. I don't want to bounce out on you before answering them. But if there are no more questions, I'll probably head on over to update that premium content, update my core plays, update my projections. And hopefully everyone has a fantastic night. And hopefully everyone's able to put some winning lineups together. Would love to see it. And yeah, if you guys ever win big based upon just watching and listening to my content, or becoming a premium content member and you win big, please send me some screenshots. I love giving people shout outs over here on Twitter. So if there's anything that I can do to give you some shout outs, I would love to do so. If you have a big night, I always like showing love to my supporters. So, all right, guys, it doesn't look like we have any more questions, really. So I'm going to bounce out of here. If you enjoyed this stream, if you could take a second to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss when my new uploads go up. You don't miss when I go live if you haven't already. Wish you guys all the best luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.